You're all very welcome to our Irish Bioenergy Association Decarbonising Industrial Heat Using Biomass seminar. My name is Sean Finan, I'm the CEO of the Irish Bioenergy Association, and I will be the MC for today's seminar. With over 20 speakers and panellists, it promises to be a very busy day, and we hope that you enjoy the content that we provide and that you get engaged in the discussion and the questions with our panellists and speakers. You will hear from a wide range of speakers and panellists, including our representatives from our sponsors, SEAI, and partners World Timber, Balcas, Woodfield Quality Assurance Scheme, and the South East Energy Agency. And without further ado, I'd like to introduce Maurice Ryan. Maurice is the IrBEA President. He was elected in December 2024. Prior to that, Maurice has served as Vice President of the Association. He is the Director of Business Development for Greenbelt, Ireland's largest private forestry management group. And Greenbelt provides professional services nationally through a network of foresters. Greenbelt manages your harvesting, establishment, replanting, and provides a structured plan for forestry land and the portfolio that it manages. I'd now like to introduce Maurice and ask him to say a few words. Thank you.
Thank you, Sean, and I'll make sure Trish won't be ringing me with her bell. She gets very, very antsy on that time. So very good morning to you all, and thank you very much for coming along to our event this morning. It's great to see such a good crowd and an engaged crowd in the room today. As Sean said, my name is Maurice Ryan. I work for a company called Greenbelt, but I've been elected as President of IrBEA. I have the unenviable task of following Paddy Phelan into that role, so no pressure there. Today's conference, as we know, is focusing on the decarbonising industrial heat using biomass, and forestry and wood and timber is very close to my heart, as you can imagine. So I'm delighted to see that this topic getting the airing that it deserves. We all know the value of energy security and energy supply, particularly in these kind of challenging times when it's a movable feast on a daily basis. So looking at biomass and considering that biomass as an alternative use or a supplementary use is very valuable and very, very important. So it's great to have such an engaged group here with all the supporters and the sponsors on board. As we know, in Ireland there is significant potential and the role for forestry and timber production as value income drivers in rural communities, and we would extol that virtue quite significantly. The multiplier effect of forestry, every euro put into forestry is 1.75 euros back into rural communities, not just into the general populace. And that's very, very important to sustain those local communities, shops, homes, livelihoods outside of more urban centres. Ireland, unfortunately, has seen a massive decline in its annual planting numbers over the last 10 years, with the average being roughly about just shy of 2,000 hectares planted each year for the last 10 years. That flies in the face of the stated government targets of 8,000 hectares of new planting each year. So we're a million miles away from reaching our target of 18% forestry cover, which was originally stated for 2017. That's been and gone, and 2030 is the next milestone. But based on the current status and standing, we're not going to achieve that target. To put that into context, we have 11% forestry cover here in Ireland, which is the lowest in Europe, which would have a typical average of about 30 to 35%. The only areas in Europe that have a lower forestry cover are Monaco and the Vatican and the Isle of Man. So we're in good company in some ways and poor company in other ways. Now recently, obviously, as we all are aware, Storm Éowyn came in across the country and caused untold damage, particularly in the northwest area. Now, while that is a crisis and something that has to be dealt with and is obviously extremely distressing for the forest owners, therein lies a certain level of opportunity also, and particularly around the use of biomass. The majority of the timber that fell will ultimately be processed towards biomass. But as I mentioned, with the low planting numbers, the private forestry industry is in a state of decline, and there's a historically low level of confidence in the industry. The Department of Agriculture and the government in general have a huge opportunity here and now on the back of that storm to start rebuilding some of that confidence into forestry and into the forest industry and seeing those planting numbers increase again. We've been encouraged by the activities of Minister Healy-Rae since he's taken up his role with Minister, or as a junior minister with forestry as one of his mandates. And as recently as yesterday at the Talking Timber event run by Teagasc, he put out a commitment, or made a commitment, that there will be a financial support to those private landowners who have been affected by the storm in terms of the replanting of their costs. So as you know, here in Ireland there's a legislative obligation that once you plant forestry, you're obliged to replant that forestry at your own cost. Obviously, with a storm damage that occurred, a lot of that timber value is lost from where it was, so the economic impact of having to replant would have made it a very, very challenging project indeed. So it's great to see the government coming out to support that. The Minister has also stated he wishes to see a certification strategy rolled out for that all private forest owners will be certified under a group scheme, which again will be supported by the Department of Agriculture, which is obviously very, very important from a timber supply and a security supply and that provenance of timber supply. So, as we know, the biomass sector here, of which many of you are the end users of biomass, it takes material from timber thinning and harvesting operations. It's crucial to assisting in large energy users moving away from dependence on fossil fuel to a more sustainable and locally produced renewable bioenergy sources. The impact of that will have a reduction in emissions and address energy security while driving rural and economic development, as I mentioned. It's great to see a renewed interest in exploring biomass as a decarbonisation option for industry, particularly considering the publication by the Government of the Industrial Heating Decarbonisation Roadmap. The diverse range of attendees here today, and we can see it all across the room, show that the evidence of the interest in biomass and utilising it as an energy source. So some of the target options or targets that we're looking to try and focus on today is looking at solid biomass resource availability, and Eugene will speak about this with his extensive study that he carried out. The sustainability and environmental credentials of the sector often becomes under some pressure from people who maybe aren't as well informed as they might be in terms of the sustainable credentials around biomass and biomass usage. Certification available to verify these sustainable credentials, and you'll see that from WFQA at the tail end, but the FSC and other certification bodies for forestry and timber. And looking at the long-term viability and broader benefits of adopting industrial heating biomass solutions. I'm also excited, I used to have an interest, a very close interest in biomass boilers. That was a long time ago, so I'm looking forward to seeing the advances in these biomass solutions and the heating solutions and the technology that's provided from some of the members that are going to be here today. And looking at those who have implemented biomass decarbonisation solutions in an industrial setting to drive the decarbonisation agenda and reduce their own emissions and ultimately reduce their costs. Like all events, the agenda will provide plenty of time for breaks and engagement with speakers, so please do use this as a very strong networking opportunity. The exhibitors around the room are here to do business and to talk business with you, so please do engage with them, take this opportunity as you can. But this event wouldn't be possible without the generosity, particularly of our sponsors and partners. William Walsh, here to my right, is CEO of the SEI, and he's here going to follow me and say a few words after this. But they are the primary sponsors of this event, so I'd like to take this opportunity to thank them very much for their support of this event. We also have Worrell Timber Harvesting, who provide whole tree harvesting and very innovative ways of managing timber coming from forests. They're here today as a supporter, as are Bioenergy, who, as you might, are linked to a sawmill as well, so they have good access to timber, obviously, and we work closely with them from our green milk perspective and seeing Bioenergy then providing wood pellets and wood fuel on the other side of things. And the Wood Fuel Quality Assurance, which is an entity born out of IrBEA, and it's being run and it's about the certification of wood fuels and wood fuel quality. And of course we have the South East Energy Agency and the Unify Interreg Europe project. All of these are supporters, and we'd like to thank them very, very much for their support and generosity and involvement in today's proceedings. As I mentioned, the exhibitors are here for the day. They want to engage with you, so please take the time. You never know the solutions they might be able to deliver for you. You won't know unless you ask, so please do engage with them. And again, sometimes it goes unnoticed, the hard work that's put in to get an event like this operational and running as seamlessly as it has, and that would be the IrBEA executive team, Sean, Trish, Teresa, Noel and Stephen in particular, who would have put in many, many hours of hard work to make this event the success that I know it will be. So well done to those, and thank you very much for all that hard work. And then finally to the speakers and the panelists, everyone's busy, so it's great that you've actually committed to come along today and share your experience and knowledge with us. So I look forward to hearing everything you have to say, and hope that we can all learn a little bit and go home this evening a little bit brighter and more encouraged in our day. So finally, the one last thing I would like to say, if you're here and you're not yet a member of IrBEA, I'd strongly encourage you to become one. It's a phenomenal organisation that's going from strength to strength. It's led by an exceptional team by Sean, and it delivers on so many different aspects of bioenergy, from all aspects to it, from biomethane through to biomass usage here today, looking at all aspects of this. I know for a fact if you're here in this room today, you have an interest in this space, and it'll be the best money you'll spend to become a member of IrBEA. I'll leave it at that. I'd just like to say thank you once again and enjoy the day. Thank you.
Thanks very much, Maurice. And